I'm back. I've spoken with Jess. She was trying to log on with her laptop. So we will try again because we need to be on the phone. So let's get Jess in now. Here she
Hi,
is.
Kim.
Oh,
How are you?
I don't know. Need a phone to do the Instagram live. So we're here. That's good. I was having a panic. It wasn't going to work at all.
I was trying to be all fancy and get Isaac to do it on a camera for me with a laptop.
No. Keep it simple on this. Great
Cool,
to have you here, though. And we're all here.
Awesome.
Deep breath. It's all fine. So
Thank you.
I'll kick off again. So welcome, everyone. And Kerry, I see you're back. Thanks for your patience. And we've got some other people joining us. Hi, I'm Kim Adams, and welcome to Conversations to Inspire, my weekly interview series on Instagram with businesswomen that I admire. And I want to get to know more, not only about their business, but more importantly, about who they are. So tonight we've got beautiful Jess Bailey. Welcome, Jess.
Thank you.
Wonderful. So Jess, I do know Jess personally. I've met her and she did my makeup, as I mentioned in a story early today, for my website. Obviously not for tonight. This was a me job. But Jess
You do makeup beautifully, Kim.
Thank you. I've been working on this face for a while, so I have a method. Jess has been sharing her skills in the beauty industry for the past 20 years and has worked nationally and internationally, working in training academies in Ireland as well as Australia, and then working in TV with Channel 9 News, Fox Sports, Fashion Week and other events, and working with celebrities like Sophie Monk. But now Jess is in Cairns, only fairly recently to Cairns, and has started her own business here, doing all things beautiful makeup. I see lots of weddings, etc. But most exciting, has recently started her own cosmetic line, so we'll learn more about that, because that sounds like a huge step, Jess.
Massive. It's been a long journey. I still can't believe I've done it, but somehow I have.
Yeah, I wouldn't even know where to start, but clearly I'm not in the beauty industry, but to start your own product, yeah, I have no idea where you start. But so you've recently come to Cairns and you're now doing lots of weddings. I think you had 8 or something ridiculous like that last week.
I've done 6 weddings this week, so today has been a much needed rest day.
Wonderful. So when you were 20 years old, which probably wasn't that long ago, did you expect that you would be doing what you're doing now? Because even though the underlying theme has been makeup and beauty, even those few different sort of careers that you've had, either training or in TV or now working for yourself, are all probably quite different. So did you think that this is what you wanted to be doing and where you would end up now?
In short, no. I've done so many different things. When I was 20, I just finished studying. I moved to Adelaide. I grew up in country in South Australia and then moved to Adelaide straight out of school and did my diploma in makeup artistry. So when I was 20, it was my second year in the industry. So I was doing a little bit of retail. I was working in a photography studio. Always had aspirations that I, wanted to travel. I wanted to work on photo shoots. But yeah, to be here now, having just started my own makeup line, doing the amount of weddings that I'm doing, never could even fathom it.
Yeah. So what made you move from working in TV? Because I'm sure there's a lot of, the perception would be that that's a really exciting, fast-paced, fun, working with celebrities sort of role. Yeah. What made you move from that in the city up to Cairns and to doing business?
Well, my partner and I came on a holiday.
It always starts with a holiday.
Yeah, it always starts with a holiday. Fell in love with Cairns. Yeah, fell in love with it. I have never really liked the cold weather. And I don't know whether you've ever been to South Australia, but winters do get quite chilly. So yeah, we loved it up here. The weather, nature, so much to do, hikes, waterfalls, going out to the islands. And I can remember being up here, I think it was my birthday, and we went out for lunch at Palm Cove, and I saw a wedding, and I think it was a Wednesday. And I said to Isaac, I was like, if we were up here, I feel like I could be doing weddings like nearly every day of the week. And so 6 months later, we had a 20-foot shipping container on the way to Cairns, and packed up our life in Adelaide, and moved to the tropics.
Wow. Oh,
Yeah.
I hear you with the cold weather. I lived in Adelaide for 4 years, and the winters there are brutal when you're
Yeah.
not a cold person. I grew up here, so I really get that. I needed to leave after 4 years. I was like, I'm over this cold weather.
Yeah, it is. I miss good wine, and beautiful beaches. Definitely beautiful beaches, and going swimming at the beach. Yes. But yeah, and friends, leaving friends was definitely a hard thing, but it's just, yeah, it's been an amazing move. And like, we didn't know anyone when we moved up here, so it was hard. It was a hard thing to, you know, give up a career, 19 years doing makeup in Adelaide. I also did a little stint overseas. When I was in Ireland teaching in a makeup academy. But yeah, it felt right. All the stars seemed to align. I think when we kind of put into motion that we were going to move up here, I put a post in a Facebook group up here for Cairns weddings, and just said that I was coming up, and, you know, if anyone needed makeup artists for their day, I would be here. And then I had a company, South Pacific Bridal. They do wedding planning up here, and they sent me an email and said, are you moving to Cairns? We would love to have you on board. So all those little things started to align, and I just felt in my gut that it was the right move, and I was ready for some change. So yeah, it's been amazing.
We all have those sort of fears of making big change, or fears in our business, and so there must have been a little bit of that, you know, nervousness about the change. But it sounds like you really just tapped into, one, your desire, and two, just really making all those dots connect and trusting in that process.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It was hard. Look, getting up here to start with was very hard. You know, you've got to start from scratch. You've got to build those networks again. And yeah, I was, like I said, very fortunate that South Pacific Bridal started feeding me some jobs. I also did some work with some other artists up here as well. And then slowly but surely things just have grown.
Yeah, that's amazing. Because I know when you did my makeup, I think that was in February, and you were still kind of finding your feet then, and, you know, you had a bit of work, but it was still just building. But now it's gone in.
Absolutely.
Yes. Yeah.
I think it's hard as well because up here, it's seasonal, the work.
Right.
So you've kind of got to be prepared. Like during wet season, there's really not a lot of weddings. Everything quietens down. So I wasn't used to that either. So, and then bam, kind of April comes around, and then wedding season hits. So, you know, I think this season I've got around 80 or so weddings, which is just mind-blowing for me. I would never have done that amount of weddings in SA. But we have a lot of destination weddings up here. So people are on holidays. They don't care if it's a Monday or a Tuesday that they're getting married on. Yeah, so just getting used to all of that as well, and making sure that, you know, you put money aside to get you through those quieter times. So Jan, Feb is, yeah, really not a lot of work at that time.
So probably that was one of the reasons that you've moved into your own cosmetic line, or was that something that was always bubbling in your head, and why now?
Yeah, look, it's always something that I've dreamt of since I've always wanted to do makeup. For as long as I can remember, I've always wanted to do makeup, and definitely, you know, one day having my own line has been a dream that I didn't think would ever happen. But last year I started to think, because this year's my 20th year in the industry. So I was like, what can I do? What's something big that I can do for my 20th year in the industry? And I started to think about, you know, when I'm doing weddings and I'm doing brides, a lot of the time they need a touch-up lipstick for the day of their wedding. And so I was thinking, do I launch, you know, I was thinking just one lipstick really. Do I call it like the Jessica lipstick and launch one lipstick? And, you know, that's a celebration of my 20th year in the industry. And then a few things just evolved from there. And I started to look at some other colors, and then I started to think about names, and then I wanted something that really aligned with me. And I feel like the words we speak to ourselves are so important, and I would like to think that I'm quite a positive person. So then the names kind of came to me with lipsticks. So I've launched 5 lipsticks, and they are called Grateful, Soulful, Grounded, Authentic, and Thriving. So I felt like when women put these colors on their lips, and, you know, even on the boxes I've got, today I'm grounded, or today I'm thriving. So I want people to, you know, as they're putting on that outer beauty, also speak those words and feel that like inner beauty as well.
For sure. We've got someone on here saying, love my Jessica Bailey Cosmetics lipstick. So there is a user on here. Yeah. And that's so important, isn't it? The words that we speak to ourselves.
Absolutely.
Because sometimes they can be really harsh words that we speak to ourselves, and are more critical than inspiring. So what helps you when you're stepping forward, whether it's with business or maybe even in personal life? How do you overcome those fears or things that might, or that mindset that might keep you from, you know, leaping forward out of your comfort zone? Do you have anything that you rely on?
Sure. I've actually just been talking, I was just messaging a good friend about this today, and about grounding. Yeah. And we were talking about, I think Kerry might even be watching, but we were talking about, she was saying us Capricorns, where earth shines, and we need to make sure we ground. So I find that really important. Like today, like I said to you, I've done 6 weddings this week, and that's a big week for me. You're giving a lot of energy. You're doing long hours on your feet. I'm driving all over the place, Palm Cove, Port Douglas, Tablelands. So today for me, I've spent the day lying out in the sunshine. I actually had like a heart wall healing session with one of my friends, Pam, who has got infinite Reiki. So I feel like I look to do things like that just to kind of get back in realignment, take some time out for me, time in nature as well, beach walks, going for a hike, listening to a good podcast. All really important for me when I'm being so busy during the week.
Exactly. Grounding is something that I find. I'm an air sign, I'm a Gemini, so I sometimes need grounding to get me down out of my head, because I just start with overthinking. So I think whatever sign you are, or whatever personality type, that grounding is just, it really just does give you that centeredness and that bit more calm. Absolutely. So I'm wondering, Jess, what is one of the most valuable experiences that you've had in your life? And this might be something that was either a really positive experience that, you know, was clearly positive at the time, or maybe it wasn't that positive at the time, but looking back, it really maybe changed the trajectory of your life.
Yeah. Yeah, it's probably a bit more of a personal one for me. Yeah. So probably be about 5 years ago now, I went through quite a difficult divorce. So I was married back in Adelaide, and just in a relationship where I guess I wasn't being treated very well, and so it was very hard. But I didn't even know myself anymore. I guess I'd lost all my self-confidence. I was a shell of a person. Even now, if I think back, I'm like, I don't even recognize that girl. So there was a lot of, it was really, you know, I had to hit rock bottom, and people always say that you have to hit rock bottom before you can climb back up. So there was a lot of healing work, a lot of inner journey work, a lot of time I had to spend on my own to get to know who I was again. So that really started a bit of a different path for me. I spent a year in counselling. I did a mindfulness course. I got into yoga, living a much healthier lifestyle. All these things, like with positive affirmations, the words we speak to ourselves, you know, knowing that we can rewire our brain and think differently. So I think all of that has definitely, you know, impacted my life, and definitely a big reason also why with the lipsticks, you know, just I think it's so important, even women that go through these, you know, toxic relationships, or anyone that's had trauma, or there's something so important about, you know, your confidence coming back. And, you know, I was like, if someone can, you know, when you start to make yourself look good on the outside and you're feeling good on the inside, yeah, it can really change your life's trajectory.
I think so, and I can see now how that experience is now coming out in how you work now. It's not simply the makeup or the outside work that you're doing. I mean, sitting with you and talking to you when you were doing my makeup, you have such this wonderful healing presence, and now doing that with the lipstick. And it's so true, isn't it? I forget, there's someone who did a quote about, you know, when you're feeling down, you put on a red lipstick and put your shoulders back, and out you go. And it is so
Superwoman pose.
Yeah, exactly. There's something about a red lipstick that makes you feel more in control, even if everything is going to shit. If you put on the red lipstick, do your hair, shoulders back, and out the door you go. So I think it is important.
Red called thriving, and I was like, red is such a, you know, you are, when you've got a red on, you feel like you're thriving.
Yeah, exactly. So what did you say? It's called thriving. That's your red lipstick, is it? Yeah. Oh, wonderful. It's so true. I'm all for, you know, having that balance between the focus is on the inner beauty, but let's face it, we put our face out to people. We put ourselves out to people, and how we look is the first thing people see with us. Absolutely. And it's how we present ourselves and share our personality and share who we are. So I think there's that wonderful balance and connection to have between looking after the inner self and the outer self.
Couldn't agree more.
Yeah. So what does confidence mean to you? Because you mentioned that before about being confident in the power pose. So how do you know when you're feeling confident? What does that feel like for you?
I feel like confidence, you have to, I think you have to really get to know yourself. I think confidence is knowing, you know, and I had to really spend, I remember, you know, going through that time in my life, and it was the first time in my life, you know, I remember my best friend, she took me in, and I lived in her spare bedroom for 8 months out of a suitcase. And then I finally got my own little unit, and I was like, no, I'm going to live here on my own. I need to spend time on my own to get to know me. So I think confidence is really, spending that time with yourself, getting to know yourself, knowing, I guess, your boundaries, knowing what your strengths are, knowing what your weaknesses are, and working with those. And I think, you know, and giving yourself that self-love, you know, treating yourself like you would treat your best friend, speaking those kind words to yourself and caring for yourself. Yeah, for
sure. And I think I totally agree. Self-awareness, it's I think so many of us get so busy with all the things and our responsibilities, and that we kind of lose that connection with who we are. And you get to a point where you go, who am I? What is really important to me? What do I value? How do I want to show up? And you can't do that until you spend the time with yourself, becoming more self-aware. Yeah.
Even that, you know, even now you know, with being so busy, it's hard to find that balance. Like, I just spent a couple of weeks ago, we went away camping off grid, and it was just so nice to not have a phone and just wake up in nature. And then, you know, when you come back, you realize that, you know, we live such fast-paced lifestyles, and it's straight back into answering emails and social media and work. And
it's confronting, you know, when you come back to it, isn't it? It's almost overwhelming.
Yeah, it was really overwhelming. I was like, I think I want to go back to the simple life. I want to go back to just catching yabbies and cooking them up for dinner. And
if only we could have, that's what we're all searching for, isn't it? That work-life balance, and how have that. And for some, I mean, I feel so lucky and grateful to live so close to, you know, the beach and living in an environment where the sun's out and I can get outside so often. But for anyone watching who's in the middle of the city or somewhere like that, it can be really harder to connect with nature and get outside and feel that sense of peace. But I think any way you can do that, I think for me, is just so important.
Absolutely. And you've created the most beautiful sanctuary at your house. Oh gosh, I walk in there and I instantly feel calm.
It's very important to me because I'm such an introvert, and because, you know, I've done battle a bit with my own anxiety over the years, is creating that oasis at home was really important for me. So that I come here and it's like I can close the door almost to the outside world sometimes. So that's good.
Totally.
Yeah.
I love that. Yeah. Even my house full of plants. Isaac's like, no more plants.
Never too many plants. Never.
I agree.
So besides plants, and I can tell you from Adelaide, because I remember when I moved down there and I used to say plants, to say plants. I can tell that you're from Adelaide.
People what is the one? They're like, are you English? And I was like, I think it's just the South Aussie accent.
It is. You have a more English way of saying words, dance, whereas we're a dance up here. We're very ochre up in front. Yes, I used to get teased at work for you. I didn't even realise it was said differently anywhere else. But anyways, one last question. Yeah. What is one thing, and there's probably many things you can't live without, but what is one thing that you can't live without?
Me, sleep. Probably for me, sleep. Gosh, anyone that knows me knows that I love my sleep, and that if I don't get enough of it, I'm not a great person to be around. At night, don't bother messaging me. My phone's on silent. It gets put away from dinner time, and I'm normally in bed by 9 o'clock.
I'm with you. 9 o'clock, and I'm like an old granny now. It's like, oh, I've got to get to bed.
But look, probably as well, connection. I think connection is, connection's very important. I'm quite, like I said to you, I think spending time alone is very important because you've got to get to know yourself. But I'm also quite an extroverted person. And so, you know, and it's the reason why I do what I do as well with makeup. Like, I love meeting new people. I love connecting with other people. I have beautiful friends in my life that, you know, the connection with them, they're there with me through my highs and lows. And, you know, it's so important to have those people that support you and cheer you on from the sidelines. So, yeah, connection.
Definitely. So where can people connect with you, Jess? Where can people find your lipsticks or your makeup work that you do?
Yeah. So basically I've got my Instagram pages. So my makeup page is through Jessica Bailey MUA. And then for my lipsticks, I've got at Jessica Bailey Cosmetics. And then people can also find me through my website, which is jessicabaileymakeup.com.au. So that's got a lot of my work on there. Normally a lot of my brides there's a form on there if brides want to contact me about inquiries for wedding dates. So also I've done it all myself. It's popped the store on my website as well. So it's been a lot of learning as I've gone along. I've never done anything like this before. So there's been, you know, I think that was why the wet season can be a good thing, because it did give me a lot of time to work on the lipsticks and implementing the store into my website. So yeah, that's how people can also purchase lipsticks, is pop onto my website and go to the store, and you can do it all through there.
Wonderful. Thank you. Well, that's the end of our interview tonight. I do want to remind people, and it sort of fits in neatly with what Jess was saying about grounding and nature, is that I've put together a downloadable guide called the Neurotic Yogi's Guide to More Calm and Confidence. And these are the things and tips and strategies that I've personally trialed and used myself. So if you're on Instagram watching this, the link to that downloadable guide in the bio, or if you're watching it on YouTube, it will be in the show notes below. So thank you, Jess.
Pleasure. Thanks so much.
Wonderful. And I want to get some more photos done later this year. So
do it. We need to organise a catch up, and I want to come to a yoga night too.
Yeah, yes, excellent. Well, I better get in quick because you're so busy. I'll have to try and squeeze
Yeah, let
in.
me know. And I can bring some lippies with me as well.
Yes, excellent. Maybe we can try some on and show.
Absolutely.
Wonderful.
Sounds great.
Thanks, Jess.
No worries.
Bye.
Have a lovely night.
Bye,
Thank you.
everyone.